Michigan sports. Red Wings, Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Michigan State, and the list goes on. And you love beer. Who doesn't? What if we mixed the two together? This is State of My Sports. We'll talk everything Michigan sports, like only we do, and then we'll down our fair share of beer from a local brewery, grading the beer throughout the episode. So pop a cold one on your end, and we'll get busy on ours. This is the State of My Sports.
That's right, this is State of My Sports, and this is episode 172, recording live on September 6th, 2022. During our Beer Flight segment, where we'll discuss some college football expansion. And then the core of the episode will really be our full season preview of the Detroit Lions. We'll discuss where we're confident, where our biggest questions are and concerns, and play the official schedule game as well. We will also be talking about Michigan State's games, kind of stuff that we learned. Just a game one, not a whole lot to learn from it, but still worth talking about, and some injuries that we're going to get into as well. We'll make some picks against the spread in our Betting Hero segment. And, of course, we will drink and review some Michigan craft beer. If you're joining us live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch, let us know what you're sipping on tonight, and let us know what your thoughts on all of our topics. Be part of the conversation. We're going to do our best to read all the comments and answer them to the best of our abilities. I am Sam Waldhart, and with me today is Micah Smith.
Yo.
Just us two today. What's going on?
Not a whole lot.
Man.
Just the two of us.
Just the two of us. Yeah, that's why we shouldn't be together, because we're going to start singing. And it's not good. Not good stuff.
No, not at all.
But no, before we get this thing rolling, I did want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors that help keep this thing rolling and free for our listeners. DeHop's Brewing Company and Cafe is the official brewery of State of My Sports, and BettingHero.com helps us and you get the best promos available in the sports betting world. Really, man, how you been? Good week? You went to the Michigan game, right?
I did.
With your boy, Max?
I sure did.
Dude, how awesome is that?
Yeah, it was a great experience. So, good seats, and then about the fourth quarter, we saw a nice little hole at the opposite end zone, and I'm like, you know what? Max, grab your water. We're moving. He goes, where are we going? I'm like, you'll see.
Man.
Just wait. Yeah, he's walking, and Dad, where are we going? I'm like, just a couple more sections. Hang on. So start going down there. He goes, you know, we were up ways. I think we were like 70th row or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So he keeps walking down. He's like, keep going. I'm like, yeah, keep going. So we like get down to like right by the student section, and And then like a couple students left. I'm like, you guys leaving? They're like, yeah, we're leaving. I'm like, sweet. Pop a squat front row. I'm like, this is sweet.
That's so cool.
Got to watch that rushing touchdown by Alex Orji come in. That was really cool. So
yeah.
He had a great time. I had a great time.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
And that was his first time at a game, right?
At a regular season real football game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, because you've done the
spring
game a couple times. Yeah.
Yep.
That's so cool. We had anniversry weekend, obviously.
How'd that go?
Week one of college football's anniversary. It actually went really good. We what did we do? We went out to eat. Went to Butcher's Union on Friday and had a couple drinks at O'Toole's, which was great. And then Saturday we woke up and did some kayaking on.
Yeah. Where'd you go?
Flat River.
That's Lowell, right?
Yeah, it was in Lowell, downtown
Nice.
Lowell, which was fun. Did that, got home in time to watch the game, which was good. She took a nap, which is, great. She's happy, I'm happy, and everything went good. So, can't complain. So, it was just fun watching college football. It was,
Isn't it nice to be back?
So nice to have it back. And it was like a full slate. It was a full slate. It wasn't no week 0 crap. It was a legitimate full week of college football. And I was just like, oh, this is right up my alley. So glad that it was back.
We had some last night. We had some the day before.
Yeah.
We had a big Saturday.
Right. And we got podcast
lot.
night. And then we just got to get through one day, and then it's football again.
Bingo.
Yeah. I'm pumped for some NFL, man. It's going to be a good time. We're going to get into our Lions preview here shortly. But let's introduce what we're drinking tonight. So you said you want a Big Lake, and that's what we did here. We got some Big Lake Brewing. What is it called?
Darn right. It's called Orange Cream Shandy. So I think this is I think we're coming to the tail end of our summer beers here. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot left available, but this is a delicious beer. Another beer that John may not like, right?
and Kyle.
And Kyle. Not Shandy guys, not sweet guys, right? Gosh, I don't see a whole lot on here, to be honest with you.
It's pretty. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
sure it's pretty self-explanatory, right? It's got some orange.
A traditional wheat beer, brewed with refreshing orange cream flavor and milk sugar. Hey,
interesting.
Milk sugar.
First couple sips are pretty solid, don't you think?
Yeah, I think that is.
Did it say have a percentage there? I don't know if you read that or not, but
I might have missed it.
We'll get more. Like I always say that we'll get you more information at the end of the episode. But before we jump into our DeHop's Beer Flight segment, I want to remind everyone that DeHop's Brewing Company and Cafe is closed.
What?
Yes. So like last week, we still no information. They're in some what do you call it? I think some staffing. They're going through some staffing changes, and they are a
small hiatus.
They're going to take a little break and try to get everything ironed out and open up back and better than ever. Basically, is what they're going for, right?
Yeah, they want to offer stand-up service, stand-up food, and they're going through some changes right now.
Yeah,
it'll be okay.
And I didn't get any information on if you can buy beer, if they're going to open for any of that. They're busy working out the details of what they're going through right now. But I'm sure by next week I'll have some information on how you can find some of their beer at the brew house and maybe get some to go and keep supporting a great brewery. But so we're doing this ourselves. So this might be a little bit of a struggle. Little bit of a struggle, but that was we're gonna move on to our beer flight segment, and it's gonna be a pretty simple one here. We're gonna start out with the playoff expansion. This is kind of they snuck this up on us. Obviously, week 1 going here, and I think it was Friday that they announced this, if I remember correctly. It was a Friday afternoon dump that they have voted officially to expand the playoffs to 12 teams.
Yeah, 12 teams. So the rumblings for the general public started Thursday.
Okay.
Which was weird. I texted you, I think it was Thursday night, and said, did you hear about this? Apparently they're going to be voting tomorrow. So the board, or the committee, they were essentially kind of sick and tired of waiting for this whole vote to go down. So, this may have been talked about for days, even weeks. But come Friday, they voted, and sure enough, what happened?
And it passed. I don't know. I don't want to get through like a ton of the details, and if it's the right decision or not. I think the bottom line is they're expanding, and I think it's a good thing. Again, like I have so many questions on how it's going to go, so many concerns on how the Big like the championships are gonna be played. How like I don't care about bowl games. I'm over that. Like I really don't give a flying F about bowl games and stuff. But like this is just my first thoughts were okay. It's better, right? More players, more real football. You get 1 versus 12 or whatever it's going to be. Like you just get
that's how I look at
you
it.
just get really good matchups, and that's a good thing. Is it going to affect the regular season and make that less important? Yeah, I believe it will. Obviously, they came out by saying that the 6 conferences that win a 6 conference champions,
the 6 highest seeded conference
champions will get an auto bid, and then there will be 6 at large
right?
bids. Yep. So then I start thinking of things, and I'm like, okay, so Big Ten country, we're both like Big Ten teams. That's kind of who we cheer for, but it kind of fits with all like the other ones too. It's like, okay, so let's just go back to last year, right? And I want to go through this in my head. Michigan and Ohio State would have both made it, no question. Michigan would have got the at-large bid, winning the Big Ten championship. Ohio State would have got in and played one less game. And now that's where I'm like, is winning the conference, obviously you want to win a conference because you get that at-large bid, but for the big conferences, Big Ten, SEC, the ACC, like those conferences, it might be better to be the second best team in the Big Ten and get that at-large bid. You play one last game. Yeah, but
good point.
I mean, do you get a bye? Like how it's all going to work if you're a top 2 seed? That's all I think needs to be figured out and stuff. But like, there might be a true benefit to getting a couple extra weeks off before your first playoff game. You know what I mean? And it's just something like that's my first concern is I don't want winning the Big Ten or winning your conference to be like to not going to it being rewarded by not going to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear that. And
that's where I get really nervous by still having the conference champions and all that stuff. How is that all going to play out? But I don't know.
But then again, it's hard to try to be the second team, right? You inherently are going to be the second team when you can't just quite cut being the first team. And no, I mean, how do you even shoot for that? If that's going to be the case where you watch that number 1 seed play an extra game and you go, well, not too bad. This year we got second and we got a week off or 2 or however that works. And I don't know. I
guess maybe a better example would be like being in Iowa's shoes, who lost in the Big Ten championship. And now that 1 extra loss is on their resume, got the floor wiped. So now Ohio State gets in over Iowa, who won their half of the conference. You know what I mean? Like that's where I'm just going to be like, okay, well, then don't count the Big Ten championship as a negative towards the team that loses to the best team in the conference.
Right.
And that's where I would get concerned is when that kind of stuff happens. Ohio State gets rewarded because they didn't have that extra loss, where Iowa gets punished because they just got smoked by Michigan in the Big Ten championship, and now all of a sudden that's what people remember, and now they're not going to get that at-large bid because we already know that they aren't going to win the national championship. You know what I mean?
I think it would be an easy mistake for the committee to make, for them not to think about these scenarios before they move forward with how it's going to be structured. Mm-hmm. And I think it's going to be okay with the way they do it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a learning curve. I'm curious. It's progress. I'm a little nervous that's going to hurt things more than help, but I guess that's the risk you take. And I'm all for change. I really am. I think it's time. But
it's been time.
How will it actually look? I think people are going to be a little uncomfortable with what happens after the fact. You know what I mean? And how it goes from there. But I think we'll get more into that, the college expansion, when we don't have real football to talk about.
Right.
Just some cleaning up on it is they're going to have, I think it's going to start in 2026, but could start as early as 2024.
As long as all of the commissioners are on board.
Okay. And does Notre Dame count as a commissioner? Or like, that's another one that I'm just like, all right, let's get this stuff figured out. Because are they only going to play for an at-large bid now, or is this pressure on them to, no, you join a conference? And that's what I'm another thing that I'm curious about.
Get it figured out, because it's going to go hand in hand with their TV deal, whether they want a little chunk of money for themselves or if they want to partake in $7 billion up to $10 billion in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Like, just hop on board.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing your fans, you're doing your school a huge disservice if you just don't jump on board with the Big Ten.
Yeah, I did want to talk a little bit of some stuff that was. I mean, we had some really good matchups. I think we learned a little bit about some teams that we didn't really have a good grasp of. I did want to start with the Notre Dame Ohio State game. So Ohio State ended up winning 21-10, and it was an interesting game. And I want to know what changed your thoughts on these two teams in particular. Very highly rated teams. I think it was number 3 and number 5. Is that correct? Or was it even number 2, number 5? It was number 2, number 5.
Yeah, because Ohio State was 2.
Yeah. But it's still a lot of questions heading in for both these teams. What did you learn from these two teams in that matchup?
Okay, from what I saw, first of all, night game in the shoe. I mean, what do you expect from a team who's got a brand new head coach? I think my pick last week kind of spoke for itself. I thought Ohio State was going to maul Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
I really did. And, I mean, we're looking at a 21-10 final here, and I hats off to Notre Dame because, I was that whole believer on what we saw from the Buckeyes last year and the year before that and the year before that. They just trounce people. And I'm surprised, coming off of a nasty loss to their biggest rival, didn't piss them off a little more.
Yeah.
I was looking for, like, man, this offense is going to be unstoppable. They're going to come off kind of upset, and they are going to hang 100 points on Notre Dame. That wasn't the case. And so for that reason, I look across the aisle. You look at Ohio State and go, where'd you guys go?
Yeah.
It makes me question, can I tell what they're going to look like in November? Of course not.
Yeah.
It's going to be a completely different team by then, in my opinion. But, I thought Notre Dame hung in there really well. And to me, right now, Ohio State looks vulnerable.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely one way to look at it. 21-10, it was closer than that, I would say.
Yes, it was.
But I think the craziest part about that matchup was I thought Ohio State looked way more physical than they were last year, and that was something that everybody challenged them for because
both sides?
On the defensive side. I would say.
Yep.
The offensive side, for me, it was like those teams were more. Both Notre Dame and Ohio State were more true football teams than I expected them to be. I expected Notre Dame to struggle. I expected them to go through some growing pains with the new coaching staff.
Yep.
And everything that they went through. I think their game planning was actually pretty dang good by Marcus Freeman. I mean, they were the better team, I think, for the first quarter and a half. And they kind of didn't. I mean, at least defensively, they were battling. They were very good. Ohio State's offense was pedestrian again. When you lost the running back, I believe, right? He got hurt for a little bit, and Smith and Jigba was out, which plays a big role. But wide receiver should never be an issue for a team like Ohio State. We all know how deep they are. We all know how talented they are. That's what we've been hearing. I mean, I took it more as they were both better football teams than I originally thought they were going to be, and I don't mean any disrespect by that. It wasn't gimmicky. It wasn't high flying, crazy offense and like misdirections. It was true blue football. They were both playing Big Ten brand football.
Yes, they were.
And that's rare to see for Ohio State. And that's what they're going to have to do to get through the gauntlet, because I think how they played last year against Michigan manhandled them. They were the better team. They were more physical. They punched them in them. I just watched that game when I was getting all excited for this upcoming year. I've watched several games heading into the weekend anyways, and I was just like, I could see it, and they were not physical. And that's what I wanted to see was how they would adjust to that. And I thought that was a good adjustment on their part compared to last year. Again, 21 points isn't anything that you get all excited about, but they were two really good football teams, and I think we're going to learn a lot. We're going to learn more how good Notre Dame truly is over the next few weeks, and
I would think so.
I think I think Ohio State is more vulnerable than we originally would have thought. We would have thought they'd be putting up 35, 50 almost on anybody, and it not matter who they're playing against.
Right.
Obviously, it does. And if somebody's ready to man up and be a good football team against them, they might not be able to hang those points on them like they're used to. So that will be interesting to see how it kind of develops over the course of the year. But Georgia, Oregon, 49-3. Georgia
smoke show.
Reload. I mean, put them in the same breath as Alabama now, right?
At least this year.
I
mean,
it's
insane.
What they lost last year, they shouldn't hold Oregon to 3 points. Period. End of story. They shouldn't.
Nope.
Is Oregon going to be bad? I don't know. I don't know what we learned more of, but in my opinion, we just learned that Georgia's going to be freaking good again, and just sign up. In my opinion, let's pencil in the national championship to be Alabama Georgia again. I'm convinced of it. Like I would put so much money on that matchup right now. They're head and shoulders above everybody. Obviously, things can change and people can get hurt and weird things can happen. But man, they're just put them right on par with Alabama. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with Georgia.
It was wild. So I got to spend a little bit of time at the tailgate with Jarrett, friend, listener, Jarrett,
friend of the show,
friend of the show. He's a Gators fan. Everyone knows that, and he absolutely loathes Georgia.
Yeah,
hates them, hates Georgia. And every single time we turned around to grab like a little piece of food or a drink, Georgia scored.
Georgia scored again.
Georgia scored. Georgia scored. And I'm like, Jarrett, this game's over, dude. Like halfway through the second, I mean, they were like 30+ points.
Yeah, it was done.
It was done.
It's crazy.
I'm like, dude, this game's a wrap, baby.
I did not expect that. I really didn't. Impressive stuff. We'll see what happens as they get into the SEC schedule and all that good stuff in probably 10 weeks or whatever, right? Clemson, last night they beat Georgia Tech. What do you think about Clemson? And Ojurige, or whatever you want to call him. I don't even know his name.
DJ
Ugalunge.
Ugalunge?
Is that what it is? Tongue of Loyola?
I don't know.
I don't even know. Like,
something Hawaiian.
He was not that impressive.
You know,
but the defense was.
The defense looked good. How many times did you see a low snap from his center? He was picking up the ball off the ground constantly. And listen, it shouldn't really ruin an entire offense, but man, when your quarterback is having to bend down to grab that ball, snap after snap, it's not good. It takes there's so little time and things happen so quickly. The second he picks it up near his foot, he's got guys in his face, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
But listen, I was texting you last night during this game, and I really thought that Clemson, they don't look dominant. They don't look like that dynasty that they used to have, right? And we said this when Brent Venables left. We're like, hey, you know what? Is there a part of this team? Is there heart that left this team? Like, is there actual like a formidable human being that left this team and left an actual hole in this team? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, the defense looks good. I mean, are they great? I don't know. I
wouldn't put them in the great category based on what they did against Georgia Tech, but that defense they were very good. They were dominant, and it'll be interesting to see if their defense can hold them in games while the offense tries to figure their crap out, because it wasn't pretty. Even though they put up 41, it was not a pretty game, and it was could have been a lot closer. Jumping to Utah and their loss to Florida, crazy ending. And if you had money on it, I'm sorry, I'm right there with you. That was rough. For people, they were down obviously 29-26. They got the ball down to like the 4-yard line, had like 3 shots at the end zone or so, and then they threw a pick with 20 seconds left, and that was crazy. And I mean, Utah being a team that we expected, or that a lot of us thought might have been a little overrated at 5, I believe, or 6. I don't know. Yeah, you were right on that one.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, losing to Florida, look, Florida skyrocketed, and everybody loves that. We'll see what happens over the next couple weeks.
Right.
I think it's a little
Premature.
Yeah, it's a little premature to put them up there. We'll learn a lot more about Florida, but Utah losing, they got a tough schedule too. I mean, they could fall very quickly. That'll be interesting to see. Florida's quarterback was exciting and great plays and stuff, but I wouldn't trust him to keep you in a SEC conference title by any means at this point. I mean, we'll see.
Maybe.
We'll see. Couple more here. I did want to talk some Big Ten. Iowa.
Game
Iowa.
of the week.
Oh my gosh, how does that happen? So they won 7-3 with 0 touchdowns. They had a field goal and 2 safeties, and they won 7-3 against San Diego State. Is it San Diego State? I think it was San Diego State.
Yeah.
SD State is what I wrote down. Only
Brady
Iowa.
Hoke.
Only Iowa. Is that who it was? Was it Brady Hoke? I don't think it was San Diego State. It might have been South Dakota State. It was South Dakota State.
Oh, okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
Either way.
Either way.
It's all good.
I don't think it was Brady Hoke because I think Brady Hoke won. I want to double check that. But, I mean, that is insane. I did not think that could be possible. I really didn't. And
my eyes drooped down on the ticker. I'm like, that's a really weird score.
South Dakota State.
And I'm like, that's really weird. Then we got talking, and we're like, well, someone said, well, they didn't even score a touchdown. I'm like, what do you mean they didn't score a
7
touchdown?
points. Yeah.
But that's football, right? Yeah.
It's insane. And it's just so fun. And it makes you look at that Michigan-Iowa game a little differently. I mean, we'll see how they bounce back and if they can get their stuff together. Obviously, a good defense, but
ugly.
Yeah, it gives me a little more hope heading into Iowa, as I think that might have been a 50-50 game when we were doing the schedule game, and I think they ended up getting a win on the coin. So might change our feelings heading into that week in week 5 when our real schedule actually starts.
We'll see when the schedule progresses.
Penn State survived Purdue 35-31, another crazy game. James Willis just jumped in. He said 2 safeties and a field goal, LOL. James, man, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. That is just you can't make that up.
No,
and that's such
crazy.
an Iowa thing. It's just so funny. I laughed so hard, and I hope that they lost at that point, because when you're in that type of game, I saw something on Twitter. It was Iowa made those poor kids watch that football game.
Oh my gosh!
I died when I saw that. But James, thanks for watching, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, that was good. But then, like I said, Penn State survived. Purdue 35-31. Another just crazy game. Another one that I was on the wrong end of a bet from, and that hurts a little bit. But
James Franklin
looked terrible again. Terrible coaching decisions. And then Purdue's coach was even worse. I mean,
Jeff Brown.
Some of those, he got the ball twice with the lead, and he threw the ball, I think, one time. He
just tried to run it up the gut?
He ran the ball one time out of 14 plays to end the game because with the lead.
What?
Yeah, it was absolutely insane and infuriating because Clifford threw a pick six that put Purdue up, and then there was two different times that Purdue had the ball, and they really freaking burned me. I'll tell you that right now. That one really hurt. It was part of a parlay that ended up hurting, but I don't know. It was interesting. All in all, it was a fun week of college football. I actually was really excited for this upcoming week, and then I saw the slate, and I'm like, dang, at least NFL is there, because this is not a very good slate. Not even for, obviously Michigan State's played cupcakes, but I didn't see any matchups that I was just like, ooh, I can't wait to watch that one. You know what I mean? Is there a game that stands out? Because, look, I'm a big college football fan. I'm not going to sit and watch BYU football. I think BYU and Baylor play or something like that. I think that's the biggest matchup here. But I guess Florida, Kentucky could be one that people get all excited about. But
Jared's going to be excited.
Yeah, I should have put that one on the picks this week. But yeah, James jumping in again. Oregon's loss. Yeah, that was a crazy one, man. We did mention that. Just a little bit of a blowout there, but we'll just keep on keeping on.
If it's craft beer in Michigan sports, we may not be the authority, but we love both like a fat kid loves cake. This is State of My Sports.
We're going to jump into the Michigan State game. They took care of business against Western Michigan, winning 35-13. by bouncing back nicely after a slow start in the second half. They took a 21-3 lead into halftime and were outscored 10-0 in the third quarter, which made it an 8-point game heading into the fourth. But then MSU outscored the Broncos 14-0 in the fourth and really put the game away. Offensively, it was pretty pedestrian, I think is a fair way to say it. While Thorne went 12 of 24 for 233 yards and 4 touchdowns and an interception, it just felt like he left a few throws out there, which is kind of his MO. He can make every single throw in the book one game, and then, man, he airmails a few guys, and he's throwing at feet a lot, and I don't know if he's throwing it away, but as good as he is, and I think we all would know how good he can be, it just gets weird sometimes to see some of his errant throws. Berger, I don't know, I haven't learned that one yet.
Yeah, Berger.
Berger led the running backs with 16 carries and 120 yards and a score, with a 50-yard run making up a good amount of those yards. But Broussard also had 10 carries for 54 yards. The ball was spread around by Thorne with 7 different players with a catch and 4 different guys getting TDs. Coleman, 4 catches for 84 and a touchdown. Mosley, 2 catches for 51 and a touchdown. Bernard, a 44-yard touchdown, and tight end Barker also had a 13-yard touchdown. Look, I don't think it's anything to get too concerned about for Michigan State fans. It was kind of the warts that you knew you had heading in were kind of exposed.
For sure.
But at the same time, you're not going to lose any sleep over it. It's yeah, exactly. It's the first game. But I don't know. It's just exactly what the concerns were exposed, I guess, is the way I like to see it. What did you see in that Michigan State game that stood out to you?
I got to be honest with you. I didn't get to watch a whole lot. It was just bad timing with the kids going down. The biggest thing that stood out to me was on the defense, and I think we'll get there, but on the offense, I saw a very errant throw by Peyton Thorne. I think it was close to 10 yards out in front of the guy. It wasn't even close. And, that made me raise my eyebrows because I haven't seen that a whole lot from Peyton Thorne. And I'm just going to assume that for sure it's definitely just first game stuff getting out of the way, because later on in that fourth quarter it was, he was dropping dimes almost with his eyes closed. Yeah. So, Peyton's going to have some slight inconsistencies. Beyond that, I'm not too worried about him, to be frank with you. And Jalen Berger, yeah, he ain't going to be no Kenneth Walker.
Yep. Don't
get your panties in a bunch that I said that, but he's going to be definitely your first running back. And was it Broussard?
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be your backup for sure.
Yeah, I think the big concerns on the offensive side of the ball were the offensive line. I think they looked like they were getting beat by Western Michigan sometimes, and I think that's obviously a concern heading into the season.
Yep.
And it was exposed. Now, can they get better? Yeah, I'm not going to write anything off because of how they looked in this game. But again, it's very, very important to have a good, solid offensive line, and it didn't look like they had one. Also, 3 of 10 on third down, and time of possession was 22 minutes and 38 seconds to 37 and 22. You got to get those fixed. I know it's not like the be-all, end-all or anything, but those were concerns last year for Michigan State. They weren't great on third down, as good as it was having a guy like Kenneth Walker. They weren't great with time of possession, and that's how they're going to help their defense. Now, the defense looked pretty dang good. The foundation of the defense was solid. They recorded 7 sacks and forcing 2 fumbles in key moments. The most eye-opening was UNLV transfer Jacoby Wyndham, who had 4 of the 7 sacks and was named the National Defensive Player of the Week. Western's quarterback, Jack Salopek only threw for 193 yards, but 21 of 36 is pretty solid. The percentage was good. But, and that just doesn't answer any of the biggest defensive questions. Sorry, let me rephrase that. That the secondary wasn't good again, in my opinion. They weren't eye-popping numbers by any means.
Yeah.
But the percentage was there, and that's where you got to kind of look at it. It's the glaring need, glaring problem. Obviously, last year, the worst pass defense in all of college football. Didn't look like it was fixed. Again, one game. Look, we're not writing anything off. It's just stuff that we notice, I think, is what we want to do here. We're not
Just pointing things out.
Yep, just pointing things out, pointing things that we saw.
Yep.
I don't think it's worth losing any sleep over. I really don't.
No,
it's the
not.
first game against a bad Western Michigan team. You don't have anything to gain and everything to lose, and they took care of business. They covered the spread by half a point or push, depending on what you got it at. But that's kind of they'll get these things cleaned up as long as they have the coach in place that they believe they do. I think the biggest story here were the injuries.
Not good.
Crucial one. So linebacker Darius Snow, he was and safety Xavier Henderson, both injured their right legs. It has since been announced that Darius Snow is out for the season, while Xavier Henderson is out indefinitely while going through treatments, is what we're being told, and see how he responds. Snow is a converted safety to linebacker, is known as a sure tackler and was really making some plays, solid playmaker. But the linebacker depth kind of seems to be, I don't want to say replaceable, but it's not as big of an issue because you have a guy like Ben Vincerman coming in, and he played pretty well once he got in there. He looked like he was athletic and ready to play. So I think that's not as big of a need. But, man, if Xavier Henderson is out for a long period of time and you get into the midst of Big Ten football without this guy, that is crucial loss for them. It is. He's the quarterback of this defense.
Yeah, he is.
He's the playmaker. He's NFL talent, ready to go, and that really hurts. And the fact that they're saying that he's out indefinitely and he's going through treatments, that is a major red flag of what the injury could be.
It really is too bad because he is the leader on that defense, and having that type of talent, that type of leader out until further notice is no good for that defense.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, they got Akron this week. I don't want to dive into that game really. Obviously, just go in, take care of business, get out healthy. That's the biggest thing, and then prepare for that. Is Washington week 3 or is that week 4?
I thought it was week 3.
I did too, but I thought I was wrong when I re-looked at it. Could you look that up?
Looking up.
But I mean, just go in, sure up some things. Maybe get a little more better percentage on third down would be great to see. And I don't know, just keep spreading that ball around with those running backs. I think if they can find that guy to be that bell cow, if you will. Obviously, he's not going to be Kenneth Walker, but someone that you can trust. I think. I can't think of the guy's name. The first running back that got the most carries, Berger.
Jalen Berger.
It seems like it's his job to kind of take over, and he had a great game on Friday. So we'll kind of see from there. But do you have the
week 3?
So it is week 3.
Yep.
So
September 17th.
Prepare for that one. That's going to be a big matchup here for MSU.
Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. State of My Sports.
Jumping into the Michigan game, Michigan took on Colorado State and really put it to them, winning 51-7. Cade went 9 of 18 for 136 yards and the 61-yard touchdown to Roman Wilson in the first quarter. Had to settle for 3 field goals while he was leading the offense, a 31-yarder, 26-yarder, and a 34-yarder. They ran for 234 rushing yards, led by Blake Corum, who had 76 yards on 13 carries, and Edwards had 64 yards on 12 carries. 5 different players had a catch, and the only touchdown was to Roman Wilson when he took the screen pass 61 yards on the second drive. I kind of want to start there if you're all right with that. I want to start with the wide receivers. And obviously we always like when the ball gets spread around and you have all these different guys getting catches and stuff. And I think that's really good for a team like Michigan State to kind of have those, and you starting to pull in those second, third tier guys. What I feel like Michigan's missing, and I want to see personally as a fan, is who's going to be that number one? Who's going to have the 8 catches in a game in 180 yards and 3 touchdowns and stuff? That's what I feel like we don't know what Michigan has. Like, I think they have guys that have the ability to be that, but yes. I want to know which one it is. When it matters most, when it's 3rd and 20 in a massive play, like who are they throwing that ball up to for a 50-50 ball to go make a play? Now, They have those guys, but we haven't seen it. At least we think they have those guys.
Doesn't that drive you nuts?
Yes, and that's where I'm at. I feel like it was all of last year, too, is we didn't know who the go-to guy was.
It's because he was hurt.
Ronnie Bell, yeah. And that's a great point. But Ronnie Bell, I mean, I think he only had one catch, maybe two. He didn't have any. But again, game one, not going to lose any sleep over keeping this guy protected based on what happened last year with his injury and stuff. But I want to see it, and I want to know that before the backs are against the wall and you need to make that play. You know what I mean?
I couldn't agree with you more.
And that's my concern right here. Again, not concerned, but just want to know, want to grow, want to see what's better this time around.
I mean, I think when we look at the NFL teams and what they do, and you go, I know they're going to that guy. Who is Michigan's that guy? Like you said, I don't know. I do want to see it, and almost watching NFL sometimes almost ruins watching Michigan football because you go, well, just throw it to that guy.
Yeah.
Just throw it to him. Make him go up and get it. Go down the field and get it. Stand your toes on the sideline and get the ball.
Yep.
We don't got that guy. We got the guy in the backfield. We know that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I want to see, and I don't know if it has anything to do with the quarterback once we figure out who the quarterback is, which I think we got to get into that now. We'll get into that. Should I just play the video first? Or obviously, all right, so the people that missed it, Cade did not look good. He looked pedestrian. He looked very,
yeah.
He looked worse than he did last year, and I think everything that we heard heading through camp and stuff, he was the most improved player. He was going to lead this team better than even last year, and it felt like the exact opposite. Like I said, he left 3 very short fields that they only got field goals from, and you can get away with that against a Colorado State in crunch time against the teams that we hope to compete with, that Michigan wants to compete with. That's not good enough. And if they did, and that's really, I know there was the fumble and all this stuff against Michigan State, the JJ fumble and stuff. But if I'm going to say we, I'm sorry. I know people get mad when we say we, but I'm going to say we because that's just who I am. We're fans here. But that was the problem last year in that game. They would have won that game if they would have gotten a couple touchdowns instead of field goals early on in that game and put the game away completely. So seeing that again, and I feel like it happened in other games too early on, we need touchdowns.
Listen, I think it's really, really frustrating to watch what Cade did last year towards the end of his season last year, which he was managing the game very well. And you guys, he went on to help the team win the Big Ten title and go to the college football playoff. That's a massive deal.
Yep.
I get it. Then to show up in your first game this year up against Colorado State, one of the now worst defenses in some rankings, and you show that kind of performance, I mean, I would expect you to be, I don't know, like 10 for 12, 14 for 15, something like that. Give me 200 plus
50%,
yards.
9 of 18.
Give me 250. Give me 300 yards. Give me 3 touchdowns. Like, you left me with nothing on the table.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I did want to bring up a couple more things, and then I think we should end the Michigan conversation with the video and kind of discussing the J.J. Cade thing. They went 3 of 10 on third down. That's no good. 2 of 2 on fourth, which is fine. But you really want to see a better percentage on third down against a low-end talented team like Colorado State. Defensively, Michigan held the Rams to 219 total yards, 137 passing, 82 rushing. They were 2 of 11 on third down, forced 2 turnovers, and had 7 sacks along the way. Again, a bad team. They dominated them. Nothing to gain, everything to lose. It is what it was, right? I mean, it was nice to see the athleticism and speed on defense from who they were replacing with Hill and Hutchinson and Ojabo gone. Like that was important to see. And I thought against a bad Colorado State team, it looked like they were ready to it was more of a reload, which I think we've talked about, right? It was more of a reload than anything, and that's important to see, especially when you don't want to see them getting destroyed. You know what I mean? Like, you can only see good here, but I mean, it was just nice to see, I guess.
Nice to see what you were supposed to see, because had Colorado State walked up and down the field, I would have been very nervous from here on out.
Yeah.
They did what they were supposed to do.
Yep.
And just like they've been preaching all, preseason long is, you're not going to see one or two guys be the stars. It's going to be a team effort, and that's exactly what it is. Because I didn't know any of these stats during the game. I had to go.
I mean, it's
I had
tough
to
when you're there,
get out of the
right?
stadium, look at the phone, go home, start watching highlights, and go, wow, okay, that's exactly what we were told.
Yep.
So that was nice to see.
Secondary was good.
Yeah.
Pass rush was great in a lot of ways. They were causing a lot of havoc, inside, outside, all of that stuff. So it doesn't answer any questions, but it doesn't create any more questions or concerns, if you will.
Absolutely.
But getting into the quarterback conversation here, look,
dun,
we're
dun.
here, and I texted you on, I think it was Friday, and I was like, dude, I've been like watching these Michigan games in the past, and I'm like, JJ's the better guy. There was even like a throw in a game, and I don't remember what it was, and it was just a dime, it was a fake handoff, just a dime, and I'm like, dang, that was actually a pretty darn good throw by Cade, because it was listening to like the radio call of it, and they said Cade did it,
That
and then all of
was
a
the
sudden
Ohio
it was
State game.
JJ. I was like, oh, that makes more sense. And then I text you, I'm like, dude, JJ's the better guy. Even last year he was the better guy, and I think that's where we're at now. And the controversy is officially here already.
Week 2,
and it is here. JJ got in the game a lot earlier. Do you want to do the video?
Listen,
because the video that I have here does have Harbaugh kind of talking about it a little bit.
Let's get to it.
All right, we're gonna do that. Let's see if this works. This is flying by the seat of our pants here. All right, so it's working. You see that on there? So people that are with us can watch. See if we can get some sound here. And I'm gonna hit play and see what happens here. Let's do this.
Kate, how did you sort of feel about the decision to alternate starts this week and next week with JJ, and where do you think the competition kind of stands, or what are your emotions like,
Let me know if
given
you
sort of
wanna
the
pause it.
unusual nature of the next couple of weeks here?
Yeah, I would definitely say it's pretty unusual. It was kind of a thing that I wasn't expecting by the end of camp. I thought I had my best camp. I thought I put myself in a good position, and that was just a decision that coach went with.
Going forward, how do you think this can and will play out? Can it work with the two of you, do you think?
I think Coach mentioned that he wanted to, he doesn't really want to do this switching this year. So I think, however it shakes out, that's just how it's going to be.
All right, I'm going to pause it right there for a second. Well, for the people that are watching, the body language is terrible. Yeah. He looks defeated. And look, I don't blame the guy. He had a rough game. He had fans booing him. He had fans cheering his back up. That cannot be easy. That can't be easy for anybody. But you're a leader. You got to be better than that, in my opinion.
He's had the fan base against him for some time.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since anyone saw a lick of JJ on the field, they've been drooling over that man.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, now that he's done what he has done last year, went into an ugly performance with Colorado State, and then you've got reporters asking him about, his co-partner there, and I mean, what do you expect from the guy? I get it. Like, it's hard for me to be with him. It's hard for me to defend him. But when he does the things he does in these press conferences and says the things the way he says them, it's disheartening to a team, to a fan base.
Yeah.
It's selfish in a way. But I kind of get where he's coming from.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
frustrated with himself.
Yep.
I get it. It's poor performance. And he knows JJ's coming for his job.
Yep.
And he knows come this week, because he's the only one besides the rest of that team that knows exactly what JJ is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's got it written all over his face that if JJ goes into Hawaii and balls out, his job is gone.
It feels like it, right?
That's what it looks like.
Yeah. Let's get a little more into some comments here. There's just a lot to unpack here that I think is worth talking about here.
Assess Cade's performance today for us?
Yeah, I thought he was really good. He had a couple balls
There's a lot of just non-answers, but
that were dropped,
it's part of it.
but just very good, doing executing, as I said, no issues. You gotta give credit to the quarterback as well when that's taking place on offense. Move the football, score points, and thought he had a really good game. I thought things were operating really smooth in the first half, and just finally said, let's get JJ in there, and he was electric when he got in, no question about that, and thought that he also went through his reads very well. I mean, it was great to see him. Just probably real super calm, cool, collected. I think has been conveying. I mean, he's greatly. He's doing a great job too, and really improved a lot.
Jim, hurry up, buddy.
As you would expect from going from your freshman year to your sophomore year.
Do you think that? So I'm gonna pause it here.
Yeah.
But do you think what he said by getting JJ in there? It almost sounded like it was not planned.
That's kind of how I felt.
It felt like it was like, hey, we got to get this going, because it wasn't like the blowout. It wasn't like a 30-point game when JJ started getting drives and getting playing time.
Need a little kick in the pants.
Yeah, it felt like it was more or less like let's get this thing going.
Yeah.
Let's get the show on the road here.
I think we can all agree. I mean, the way we're doing this, I mean, we got a lot more information after 2 weeks than we would have had 2 weeks ago.
Kind of like I brought up, you got more practice time too.
Right.
Not just the games. I want to keep this going just because I really like the ending here. One of the things
when
that
Kate was asked about
JJ
QB's
said,
situation,
or,
he didn't
sorry,
seem
Kate said.
happy, he seemed disappointed. How do you manage him and that situation in terms
Some of his press
of
conferences
keeping
are
their
just pointless.
spirits up, that they both have a shot moving forward?
I don't feel like I have to manage it. It's just they're both tremendous competitors, and I mean, both are warriors. I mean, I don't feel like I gotta manage anything. I just gotta let them go out there and compete and do what they do.
What have the last few days been like for you in handling all of this and the decision that the coaching staff made?
I mean, it's been fine. I think, this is sort of something that I've been dealing with, whatever part it was in my career, whether it was before I played, with Joe, whether it was, finally going in, whether it was last season and now it's this season. I think, at this point, I have a callus made on how to deal with these things.
So that's pretty much it there. I mean,
It
all
felt
in
like
all,
it got
like
bitter and more bitter with what he said at the end.
yeah,
It
it is.
I don't know.
It is brewing. It really is brewing, and I feel bad for Cade a little bit, but at the same time, this is a business. He's got to be ready. He's got to be better, and if you want the job, then don't go out and lose it. And I think that's the biggest thing that we saw on Saturday is it was a performance that's losing it, let alone rather than somebody necessarily going out and winning it. Like, I don't think what JJ does in week 2 would really win this job unless Cade went out and did what he did against Colorado State. He's more or less losing
right.
it, giving them a chance or giving them a reason to rip it from him, because I don't think nobody's going to see what JJ does against Hawaii and they're like, told you, and that's the be-all, end-all. It's his job now. You know what I mean? But now, based on what we saw from Cade, the body language, everything else, it's just like, yeah, if he goes out and performs, then yeah, it's his job.
So something I've liked from what Jim has said, he doesn't have to manage it. He's not managing a team that's got a salary cap, okay? He's letting guys compete, and he has told them, you are going to compete from day one.
Mm-hmm.
And what have we seen time after time in Jim Harbaugh's era? So take Jake Rudock out of the picture. You had Wilton Spate, then you had Shea Patterson, then you had Joe Milton, then you had Cade McNamara, then JJ enters the fold
McCarthy
here.
was in there, right? that his name, McCarthy?
Oh,
McCaffrey.
McCaffrey. Yeah, take him out of there. But to me, what I keep seeing on repeat is this entitled starting quarterback mindset. I don't know what it is, but there was always a bad taste with the entitlement, like from Shea. Like Shea was caught on the golf course just living like the high life before he even got to the high life of the NFL.
Okay.
Before he got to big money. It just he didn't care about football when football wasn't part of the season. Wilton Spate felt entitled.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the starting quarterback. No one's going to take that from me. Well, you were apparently the only good option, and it was a terrible option.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt like time after time it's been entitled, me, and now Jim's kind of letting nature kind of take its walk here, and JJ's coming into the fold. He's letting JJ have a game, and we're taking some of that self-entitlement from Cade, and we're kind of seeing this changing of course here. I mean, you watch what Georgia did. You watch what Alabama did. You watch what Ohio State has done. Wasn't it Cordell Jones that won a natty the year before and lost his job the following year?
Yeah.
I may be wrong, but I mean,
sounds right.
Okay, then get the better guy
Well,
in, and we're about to find out if we have someone better in JJ this coming week.
Yeah, no, I agree with all those things. And I think as Michigan fans, we need to. This is what we've always wanted. We've always wanted competition. We've always wanted Harbaugh to make the change and put the best guy out there to win. That's what we've always wanted. That's what we've always asked for. All of those things. So now that it's finally happening, and you get outsiders being like, "Oh, you guys should be grateful for Cade," and "Oh, you guys should do this. You guys should." No, we want the best guy. And if Jim thinks JJ's the best guy, that's what we need to do. We do have a couple comments here. Jarrett, yes, you did miss the Gators talk. We mentioned it. Did you win your softball game? That's what I want to know. What did Carrie say there? I think, or she starts by saying that poor kid, not think he has the job. Is that what she's saying? That poor kid does not think he has the job. Sorry, I screwed that up. She said it actually really well. And then she also went by and said, I think that guy just has to make himself emotionless in this. Sorry, the thing's in the way.
About this, or he'll lose it.
Yeah. Now, what is Jarrett's comment worth saying? Or is he making
okay.
jokes here?
He said he thinks it seems all silly. There's no reason to keep this game up of needing one QB. Just roll a 2 QB system. Never made sense to me why people think there has to be one. Chris Leak, example. Chris Leak, Tim Tebow, that year was a prime example. Urban rolled with both, and both were different style QBs, and it just worked to perfection, he said. Not just trying to bring Gators into the talk, sure.
No, that's actually, I remember that year pretty clearly. I think Tebow was the guy that everybody wanted. Leak went in, and they won a national championship, if I remember correctly.
And I think what Jarrett's getting at is we don't necessarily have to roll with we don't need to platoon the QB position at all. Like Jim has done in the past when things have been stalling out drive after drive for the offense. He would throw JJ in there to kind of kickstart things, whether it was just a run design RPO with the quarterback or whatever it was. But I don't think Jim's afraid to do that. If JJ stalls out a few drives, he'll throw Cade in there if Cade's still here.
Yeah. And last year was a perfect year to do that, but now give me the better quarterback. And that's what I think.
Of course.
I think it was a little different with Tebow because I think Leak was probably a better thrower than Tebow. At least that's what people thought. And I think it was just Tebow's first year, like freshman year, similar to what Michigan did last year. So now, in this case, it's Tebow's job to take over. This is JJ's job to take over. And I'm ready for it to happen, and I hope it does. And look, there's nothing that JJ can – I'm not going to come on here next week and be like, Cade put up X, Y, and Z, and that's why he should be the starter. If he goes out and performs, period, he should be the starter. I think it's his job to lose, and I hope that it's his job to lose at this point. Yeah. JJ's. I don't know if I said that right. I get them all mixed up all the time, but I'm pretty sure I said it right. But this is JJ's job to lose at this point. I hope Cade stays based on everything that happens, but I wouldn't think anything otherwise, really.
Yeah.
I'm ready to pull the trigger. If it doesn't work,
Yep.
I'm ready to say I was wrong.
Yeah,
I really
absolutely.
am. But I think it's the right move, and I really do. So
Sorry, Spartan fans. You guys don't have a QB problem. That must be nice.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. State of My Sports.
Moving right along to our Detroit Lions season preview. The first year of the new regime went really about as expected. They finished 3-13-1 with wins against the Vikings, Packers, and Cardinals, with a tie against the Steelers. It was a very tough start, losing 10 of the first 11 before the tie. With the tie in there, and then won 3 of their final 6 games. The change in play calling, health of Goff and offensive line, and the emergence of Amon-Ra St. Brown really helped, along with Josh Reynolds coming in, someone that Goff was comfortable with, really helped the team overall. Combine that with 9 of the 17 games being decided by 1 score, it feels like a foundation was being built of a team that will not roll over and just kind of be ready to fight to the finish. You head into year 2 of this regime. Still with a lot of questions, but as Lions do, the hope of the step up is there. And here I am. I've taken that little hope that I have and turned it into almost like the gospel and finding a way to make the playoffs. That's basically what I've done. I take a little hopium and then make it the real thing. It's just this. I'm not living in an alternate universe because of the hopium. This is the.
I didn't
thing,
I didn't know if hopium was a pill or you like shoot it up or what.
I think shooting it up makes more sense. You just get just a little taste or something. I don't know. I don't know. I've never done that before. But fall goes right there in the playoffs. That's basically where we're at. But,
there you go.
Did want to start out with the betting side of things, like I always like to do. To win the Super Bowl, they are plus 15,000. To win the NFC, they are plus 6,000. Win the North, they're plus 1,000. They're behind Green Bay, who's minus 175. Minnesota, who's plus 250. And then you got Chicago behind them at plus 1,500. Their over-under is set at 6.5 wins. If you like the over, you'll get minus 125. If you like the under, it is plus 105. And then they have plus 400 to make the playoffs. It's intriguing. I'm personally not going to do it because I don't really like long-term bets. I know Jarrett comes on and he really likes to play the futures and stuff. That's not really my go-to. I consider my money very valuable and want to return right away. Is kind of where I'm at. So just fun little futures there, if you will. But
money's valuable?
It has a little bit of value.
What?
Yeah. Jarrett, he says the Lions will go 6-11. We'll start 1-5. Mark my words. All right, I'm going to mark those words right now.
Mark his words.
But do I have to like it? Is that how you mark them on the Facebook?
Well, don't forget the ha-ha at the end.
Okay. So is that a joke? I don't know. All right. Anyways, we're going to...
Hang on. I got to ask you. Did you at least just put, like, $5 on them winning the Super Bowl?
No, I haven't. I would never throw away $5 like that.
No?
No, I wouldn't.
Come on, man.
Should I?
Well, why not? Like...
All right, maybe I will. I'll do it.
Just
all right, yeah,
$5.
Yeah, what would that pay out? I don't even know.
I don't know.
All right, I'll do it during our Betting Hero segment while you explain Betting Hero to our listeners.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
We're gonna get into the offensive side of the ball. Quarterback year 2 under Goff will be better than last year. Am I getting?
It's a.
What is that from?
It's a thunderstorm.
Is that what that is?
I don't know.
Quarterback. Oh, is your phone? Is that what it was? Year 2 under Goff will be better than last year. He finished with a 91.5 quarterback rating, with a 67.25 completion percentage and 19 touchdowns to 8 interceptions, which is really just a step back from his worst year as a Rams quarterback, other than his rookie year. The stat that everyone seems to love with Goff is that he was ranked 25th out of all quarterbacks in air yards, which was a 6.4 air yards per attempt, which is not good. Very short passes and all that kind of stuff. He had no confidence last year, little to no support with his wide receivers and tight ends for the majority of the season with injuries. And if he can find his way back to be like kind of the middle of what he was in the best year at in I guess L.A. or wherever they were before, St. Louis, as a Ram, and kind of mix that, meet in the middle between his best year and his worst year, which was last year. I think that'll be a really nice step up.
Yeah.
And kind of be closer back to that number 1 overall pick. Not that I think he deserved a number 1 overall pick, but it is what it is. So $5 will pay $755. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do that tonight. I'm gonna do that. All right,
That's it?
I'm down. That's not bad.
Really?
Yeah. You wouldn't take
Well,
that?
I don't know.
You should bet on it.
Well, no,
Why?
because I don't believe in it.
Well, why are you making me do it then?
Because you're a fan. You're a giant fan. You're their number 1.
There's a lot of crazy fans, like face paint guys and like weird
Yeah.
hat guys and stuff. That's not the
There-
fan I am. I'm the fan. I love the Lions. I really, really do.
There are adults that do face paint.
That blows my mind.
very
I just don't understand how to do it.
Yee.
There's some that even wave flags and stuff. No, I'm just kidding, Jared. You know I love you, buddy. No, I think the wide receiver and tight end here that I want to get into next is a massive step up from what we saw last year with Amon-Ra
Knock her
St. Brown being potentially the third option. Once Jameson Williams comes back, the weapons will they won't be the excuse that for Goff. If Goff can't move the ball with these weapons, we'll know a lot with them. Last year when Josh Reynolds got comfortable and St. Brown emerged, you saw a glimpse of the Goff that you assume this regime believes in.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think? I mean, do we think he's going to be great? No, but is he serviceable? Is he good enough to run the type of offense they are? I think we've seen him do it with a different team, with a different type of, you know what I mean? But it's possible, and that's what we're trying to figure out is, can he be good enough that we don't need to draft a quarterback, that we don't need to bring someone else in? All of those things are the interesting parts. But sorry, go ahead.
You know, that's where your GM comes in, right? Building a team, not specifically around Jared Goff, but giving the team a lot of pieces and a lot of talent where talent may lack, and make up for, you know, his I don't know, lack of quarterback ability, I guess we'll call it, right? So you want to pick up the slack with other talent around him is what you want to do. I mean, if he's not going to be your top 5 quarterback, right? I mean, maybe in his first 5 years it was questionable. Like, man, he may be an absolute dynasty type of quarterback, but at this point in the game, at this time in his career, you need to put talent around him on the defense and the offense.
We do have a comment because I was calling out people that paint their faces. So Carrie is saying, yes, as the guy who was head to toe red at the Red Wings Game 7. I was also 19 years old, so yeah, I was an adult, but I couldn't even drink yet. So I had to create my own fun instead of just consume fun, you know. Gosh. It was one time, all right? I won't do it again. Promise you that. Unless Easton wants me to. Maybe I will. But also $5 for 55 for the Packers to win it. Not worth putting money on that.
No.
St. Brown, Chark, and Reynolds are the top 3 wide receivers right now, with Khalif Raymond and Quintez Cephas as the main backups until the first-round pick, Jameson Williams, gets healthy. You also have Hawkinson as a very nice security blanket with a lot to prove here in his contract year. I really do like the way this offense, the weapons around, the depth is there, huge upgrade, and just really like the way that it looks on paper here heading into the year. You got the O-line, who I believe can be truly elite. You got Decker at the left tackle, Jackson left guard, Ragnow center. Kramer sounds like is going to be the right guard with Vaitai out. But once Vaitai comes back, that'll make a huge difference. You also got Stenberg in there that can get in there. And then Sewell at right tackle. Very, very solid offensive line. Could very well be an elite group. But it feels like a lot of hope. It feels like a lot of on paper, and I want to see it to believe it. I do. I think a elite offensive line will make this job so much easier for the weapons. It'll be so much easier for Goff, and it'll open things up that you can really run the ball when you need to and want to, and throw that play action. Like, it makes such a big difference when you can do it. And that's, I think, that's going to be the foundation of the offense, and then everything else should come together if the offensive line can.
Oh, no doubt.
Lot of high-end talent there. It really is an exciting thing for Lions fans to see that.
First week is going to be a good test.
It will be. Yeah, you got the Eagles. Eagles have a very good defensive line.
Yeah.
Very good run stop. They get pretty good pressure on the quarterback, but they're stopping the run is one of their best bets. They do a great job with that.
Oh, that Jordan Davis guy? Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be
Yeah.
interested. That's going to be an argument this time next week is, should we got Davis? Should we got Davis? Right?
Yeah, we'll see.
Running back room, you got Swift and Williams are clearly the 1 and 2. And when healthy, and then you got Reynolds there, who had a couple solid games last year. DeAndre Swift comes back. He played in 13 games last year, had only 617 yards with a 4.1 average and 5 touchdowns. I actually didn't get the receiving yards on this. I should have put that on there. Jamal Williams in 13 games had 153 attempts, 601 yards for a 3.9 average and 3 touchdowns. Craig Reynolds comes back, 5 games played, only 55 attempts, 230 yards. Pretty solid 4.2, not bad for a guy off the street. The health is so important for this running game. I think Swift could really have a nice breakout season. I personally believe in him. I know there's going to have those doubters. Can he stay healthy? Can he do this? But if you have a top 5 to 7 offensive line, the talent that Swift is, catching the ball, running the ball, so dynamic at times. We've all seen it. Man, he could have 1,000 games on the ground, or 1,000 yards on the ground, 1,000 yards in the air, and that is what this offense needs to really just let the wide receivers go. Let these guys do their job. Let Hockenson not be your first option in a route. That's what we were dealing with when he was healthy last year.
Right.
You were designing plays for Hockenson. That's not what you do with tight ends. Tight ends are your dump down when your first 2 or 3 options aren't there. Tight end will be. That's your safety blanket. He was used as the number 1 option when he was healthy last year. If you can make him the security blanket that Goff needs to make this thing work, this offense could. I don't think it's ever going to be high flying and be a top 5 offense by any means, but they control the ball, they can run out the clock, they can pound it, they can throw. They can put together a really nice offense, and it will only make that defense better.
Well, you look year after year when you see the top tier running backs, stop calling them running backs.
Yeah,
They're just start labeling them as athletes like they do in college, right? Stop going for that north and south runner, just running downhill type of guy. Those days are, honest to goodness, gone. You can maybe use that type of guy every here and there, rotate him in, but you need an athlete that can do everything out of the backfield. He can run the ball, they can hit the gaps that they need to, they can get around the edge, they can catch the ball out in the flat. You need to keep those guys and doing what they're doing, and Swift, keep using him the way he can be used.
Yeah, my overall thoughts on the offense. I mean, everybody knows they're the highest paid offense, right? That's what everybody talks about. And the highest paid offense shouldn't hope to be a top 15. But that's kind of where I'm setting my goal at. If you can be a top 15 offense and upgrade the defense a little bit, we'll get into the defense here soon, but a top 15 offense, if you can find your way in there in different ways, just overall good offense, that is good for me. That's what I want to see. Obviously, I'd love to see more. I would love to see a top 5, but they're not going to be that high-flying, just throw the ball over the field that everybody's ooh, fear that offense. It's more or less wow, how did they do that? Just 100 daggers just killed us slowly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely dominated the ball. What did Jarrett say about Stroud?
So he had an interesting comment. He said Stroud will go first in the draft, and Lions will trade up to get Bryce Young for the second QB, so you can have the Young Williams Bama combo.
Okay, if Stroud goes first in this draft, I don't believe that. I don't think Stroud will go first in the draft. I think Bryce Young's going to go first in this draft.
I completely agree.
Watching Stroud in that Notre Dame, he still looks like a kid. He looks very immature, and he I don't know, he looks like a deer in the headlights at times. And I don't want that. If he's looking at a deer in the headlights in college, I can't imagine what he would look like next year.
His mechanics seem a little cumbersome.
It'll be interesting to see. I think Bryce Young is the better quarterback personally, but that's my opinion. But
moving on.
Hopefully we don't have to get a quarterback in the draft. Previewing the defensive line, you got Charles Harris, Hutchinson on the edges with McNeil and Brockers hopefully clogging up the middle. Assume they will create pressure there. Harris coming back is huge with the injuries to Okwara brothers and Pascal. He had a career year last year with 7.5 sacks, really by himself. I mean, he didn't really have any support. It was just an ugly pass rush. It was an ugly defensive line. It did not click well. But they are moving to that 4-3 base, which will be interesting to see. When teams have to worry about the other edge guy like Hutch, that's going to open things up for Charles Harris as well. I think the depth is becoming a starting depth, higher end guys, if you will.
Right.
I think is going to be nice. Obviously, with the injuries, the depth doesn't seem that exciting or comfortable right now. But when you have high end talent, you're not sending out scrubs anymore, and that's the nice thing about adding Hutch and what this is going. I think. Look, they gotta create pressure organically. That's the biggest thing. So then, the linebackers and corners don't get left out on islands constantly. That's really the key of this defense, and it'll make them better as a whole. Is getting true pressure, stopping the run inside the tackles. All of those things need to happen, and I think they're getting set up. They're going to be better. I like Lane McNeil. I like Brockers. I think Brockers is going to kind of have that nice bounce back year like Vaitai did last year. It didn't go well his year one in Detroit. I think this will be he's getting more comfortable and will be back to the player that he was back in LA, if you will.
Sure.
Just getting pressure is going to be very, very important, and they're setting themselves up for that. You just got to see it happen. On the for the DBs, nice to see Okuda win the job over Will Harris. And if Okuda is a true starting corner in this league, let alone half the guy that everybody expected him to be as the number 3 overall pick, coming out of LSU, I mean, you have a solid duo there with him and Awarrior, and the depth is growing as well with Will Harris, Hughes, Lucas, and Price. Look, I'm not going to say these are world beaters or anything, but they had time last year. We learned a lot about them. They can play in this league. The depth is growing, and you got higher end guys than what we've had in the past. You got Tracy Walker coming back, bringing in Deshaun Elliott as safeties. He has 5 years of experience coming over from the Ravens. It really feels like they're starting to put together NFL starters. They're not just throwing out scrubs anymore.
Feels good, right?
It does. It really does. Now, is it going to translate? Is it going to be easy? No. I get all of those things, but
early
it's
growing
nice
pains.
to see. It's nice to see names that are deserve to be in the league and not guys that we're learning about 2 days before the game.
Right. And
then we're learning by a guy named Jonathan Smith is out there. Like, you know what I mean? Playing cornerback. Like, it's just, I don't want to learn anybody's name like we were last year. It feels like that was the game last year. It goes, who is in on this tackle? Name that Lion. Like nobody knew who they were.
All
as
you
long
hear
as they
is
stay
this.
healthy. Yeah, it's
like,
just papers like, oh, who the F is that guy?
Oh,
like, no, but it's fun to see. Linebackers. I still believe it's going to be the weakest link in the defense. Malcolm Rodriguez, it sounds like, will be there, but you got Anzalone and Chris Board, who will be the core guys, and then you got Rodriguez, Barnes, and Josh Woods all competing to be those backups. It's going to be the snap count is going to be interesting. I don't care so much about the starters, anything like that. It's the snap count. Who's out there when it matters most? Why are they using Malcolm Rodriguez here? Why are they using Derek Barnes there? Why is Anzalone always on the field? Like, those things are going to be interesting. I don't like the high-end talent, but the depth is starting to come together a little bit. If Derek Barnes is a backup, that's a good problem to have. If Malcolm Rodriguez is a backup, look, I mean, as much as we all liked what we saw on Hard Knocks and in preseason games, it's still going to be a rookie linebacker. It's not easy. Derek Barnes, we saw that last year. It was not easy for him at times, but Anzalone needs to be that leader, and I hope that it really works out. And I hope Derek Barnes takes a nice step up too. Overall thoughts on the defense. Look, Campbell said it in Hard Knocks last week. He said, it looks like we got a defense, guys, and that was very interesting to hear him say, because it was against the Steelers, and they were playing that bend and not break defense, and that's good to see. But it was also ugly at times too, where it wasn't great. I don't know. they were bottom 3 in most categories last season, so I don't think they can take that big of a step up. But switching to the 4-3 front will be interesting, and added talent. I think that's another really important thing. Is when you have true talent, you'll make more plays, and that's really important. Campbell described it. Moving through to a 4-3 is front allows them to be more aggressive and not just kind of like hope to hit the gaps, but more or less be the ones that are creating the gaps and make the offense react to you, and you're not just reacting and hoping. Thought those were interesting words. The hope. Close your eyes and just hope that you hit the guy. That is what he thought he saw last year, and going to this base should help them kind of get more in the backfield and create havoc and make them adjust to you and not just fill the holes, I think that was a very interesting way to hear it.
Right, just basically being present. I'm just here. No, you are going to get into the backfield. You are going to wreak havoc and cause damage. Yep.
It's just overall thoughts it's just a huge wait and see for me. But I just love the depth and high-end talent that's being put in front of us. And I'm not going to overreact when they lose week 1. I think this is still a work in progress. I need to keep telling myself that. It's more or less for myself, not for the people listening.
Right.
Keep our heads level-headed here and just go in and be in these football games. That's the real goal, is be in these football games and just flip a couple of those. I think I said it was like 9 of 17 were one-score games. Turn half of those into wins. Don't have the extra blowout. You know what I mean? Like that's where you can really start seeing something come together.
You don't want to see one of those where you're hosting the Jets and you just like the Sam Darnold game, right? That was 3 years ago.
Yeah, that was year 1 of Patricia.
Oh, okay, that was a while ago. Yeah. Sorry, you don't want to see that.
No, you do not.
No.
You do not. I do have a breakout player. I think it's going to be DJ Shark. I think he could explode on the scene early on and be the guy that knocks the top off the defense, that kind of gets those air yards back going before Jameson Williams comes back. I think it's a really important role for this offense to make the defense fear that from happening. And if you don't have a wide receiver that can do that, they're not going to respect it. We got to see it early on that Goff can hit him. We got to see all these things, but we first of all need the wide receiver that can get downfield quickly and make those big plays.
I'm surprised you didn't go with Swift.
I had Swift at first.
Did you?
I did, and then I just didn't know if that should count. I think he had somewhat of a breakout year, and that's probably just my own, like someone that's dialed in, I guess. You feel like he's already been on the scene. Even though he probably really hasn't. I think that's actually a good one. I actually had him as my dark horse MVP. I think he could have a really good year. The 1,000-yard rushing, 1,000-yard passing or receiving, that's his goal. Okay. And I think that's where I think he could be our MVP of this season. I really do.
Well, that's fair.
When you're not looking at the unit of the offensive line. It needs to be the offensive line, but it's got to be a player, and the running backs are the ones that battle the most. Do you have somebody that stands out as like a breakout that you're interested in other than Hutch?
No, I think I'm most interested to see Jameson Williams.
Yeah.
I mean, just when he gets out there the second half or whenever he gets out there, just what does he look like in the NFL?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just intriguing to me.
I think a don't forget about player for me is Hawkinson. I think it's easy to forget about him when you bring in Jameson Williams. You got some other wide receivers everybody's all excited about. You got a really good running game. Great offensive line. This guy could still become a top 5 tight end in this league. I really believe that. He has the talent. He fits the mold. He comes from this right school. This is exactly what tight ends are. And this is the year that it should happen. We should start seeing those things. If he can stay healthy, I think we're in for a really big year. And people are going to be like, who the F is this guy? You know what I mean? People are going to forgot about him in a lot of ways. Be like, dang, forgot that he was there. Forgot that he could do this.
I mean, in a way, I think sometimes the more weapons you have, the bigger years that some of those guys can have, right? I mean, half the time, if you do have numerous weapons on the offense, half the time, like I was saying, those guys can be decoys. For lack of a better term, I mean, you have So you got Swift out there, you got Shark out there, you got Hawkinson out there, then you've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then you keep throwing all of your best weapons out there on a consistent basis, you're going to see guys' numbers go through the roof. Mm-hmm. Whether it's St. Brown this year, whether it's Hawkinson another year, however it plays out, I mean, those things can happen quickly.
Yeah, so did want to get into the floor. I think the record as a floor, and this might be a little too high because I know that S can hit the fans so quickly, but I'm going to go with a 5-12 as their floor. And cautiously saying that because obviously they could go 0-17 as well, but I'm being realistic here. I think they could have 2 division wins. Let's say they split with the Vikings and Bears. I don't think that's unreasonable. They'll probably get swept by the Vikings and maybe beat the Bears twice. That's reasonable as well. So let's just say with 2 division wins and then 3 more between the Seattle, Giants, Jets, Jags game, and then maybe you'd throw another one in there as a fifth. 3 of those 5, I think, you know what I mean? Like, that's where I came up with my 5. Do you think that's fair? Or does that, like, I know the Lions' 5 wins as a floor seems very high, but it seems reasonable when you look at the schedule, right? You would go a little lower?
No, I wouldn't, honestly. I mean, you look at Seattle's a freaking disaster. Mm-hmm. Giants, you don't know what you have in the Giants. I think they're a much better coached team. You know, I just don't know if they have the talent to keep up. Jets, huge question mark, you know. So both New York teams have no idea. Jags, I think they're going to be bad. I think your floor is just fine, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
So,
for their ceiling, I went a little conservative here. Obviously, I could go complete hopium and kind of put the pedal to the metal here and get all these wins, but I'm going to go with 10. I just don't see how they get more than that. I think realistic, you split the first 2. You lose the third. You just kind of, if you can go, 50 or 500 through the first 4 games, and then you go into New England in week 5 with something to prove, and kind of like that could be a key game to see which way this season's going to go. But 10 is kind of my max. I don't think they beat the Packers. Let's say you sweep the Bears, beat the Vikings once at home. Like, then you can start seeing these games kind of coming together. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you got Dallas. You got
you got to go to Dallas.
Green Bay twice, right? You got Carolina, which I'm sorry, I'm high on Carolina. I'm gonna give them.
Are you really?
I am. I think they're gonna surprise them. I'm a big Baker Mayfield guy though. So you got Buffalo coming in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 losses. Like that I personally can almost guarantee. That's not even getting into let's say the away loss at Minnesota, and I mean there's other losses on there. I think 10 is a fair ceiling.
I will give you that. Actually, going to Minnesota is a little difficult.
It is. That's tough for anybody.
They're all about their purple. They love their purple. They purple people out. They eat people. Purple people eaters. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, yeah, I can see where you got your 10 and 7. I think that's fair. I mean, yeah. Maybe you have. Give or take one from your 10, depending on how things fall. But, I mean, I guess the way I would see it is 10's fair. If you have a couple key injuries, halfway through the year or what have you, yeah, maybe you fall to that 9. And if you guys stay extra healthy, maybe you get another win or 2. I don't know.
No, I think that's definitely fair. My personal prediction is I'm fighting between 8 and 9 wins. I'm going to go with the 8.
Sure.
Because I'm going to play that cautious game. 8 and 9 season feels realistic, but there's going to be that. I feel like that's where they're going to be, is between 8 and 9 wins, and it's going to come down to maybe they'll throw a tie in there. It'll be 8 and 1. It'll be 500 right across the board. I don't know. Seems like that could very well happen, right?
We got to stop with the ties in the NFL.
Yeah, right.
Stop tying. It's ridiculous.
How does that still happen?
I cannot freaking tell you.
They need to get that figured out.
Just stop.
It's brutal. So my iPad did finally get charged.
Hey, how about that?
So I did want to use it for our schedule game music.
Let's do it.
All right, so let me find my cord here. Talks amongst yourselves.
So, listen, I think anyone who's got Buffalo scheduled is looking at themselves going, okay, how do we get through this game?
Everybody that plays the schedule game has their loss.
Okay, bring me up to speed because I can't remember exactly how it has gone the last couple seasons with kind of like the juggernaut team on the schedule. Kansas City, you kept it close, right?
Yeah, it was a really good game a couple years ago with Stafford. Absolutely. Lions should have won that. They were the better team that day.
Okay.
And they kind of got screwed in a lot of ways.
Kept that close. You kept Arizona close last year.
Beat Arizona last year.
Beat Arizona. There was another game that you kept close that was a really good team.
Ravens. It was pretty early on in the year.
Yeah.
Tied the Steelers. Beat the Cardinals, like we said. Beat the Packers. I don't know. I don't have it in front of me, but they've been known to do that. They keep their tough games close. But look, Buffalo on Thanksgiving, they're going to be having a grand old time. It's going to be one of those games. They're going to dominate us, unless crazy things could happen. But I don't know. I don't have very high hopes for that game. Let's just say the least. But I did. So yeah. I want to get into our schedule game here. I'm gonna play some music though. Can I play some music for this?
Do it. Do it.
All right. Let's see if I got it going here. A little prime music. Is that what it's called? NFL
Prime time?
Prime time?
Dion?
All right. So it's just me and you, so.
That's fine. I got tiny decisions coming up.
Here. All right. So, week 1, playing our schedule game here. The official schedule game of State of My Sports here for the Detroit Lions. Week 1, the Lions are home against the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to go with a loss.
I'm going to go with a loss also.
All right. So, that's a big L. Sorry, let me just do this, and then we'll be good to go. Washington, second week, they're hosting Washington. That's where I feel one of those two they're going to steal. I'm going to go with the Washington game. They're home against Washington. What?
It's a W, see?
Oh, it's a big W? You got a W?
Well, yeah,
I got to win. You got to win?
Yeah, there's a W.
I see that. The football team. Are they still the football team, or what are they? They're the Commanders now, right?
No one cares.
All right, week 3, they are at Minnesota. I have a loss.
Loss.
Week 4, they host Seattle. I have a win.
Win.
All right, so 2-2 through 4.
And you go to visit
Then
your
we go
ex-coach.
to New England, the Matt Patricia-led offense. Look, this is all jokes aside. This game is very interesting to me. I'm going to give them the win. I know it's probably silly, because it's Bill Belichick, but I just don't trust that offense.
You're giving who the win? Who's them?
Lions.
Okay, you're giving
the Lions the win. What are you doing? Is this a good spinner?
I'll give them the win.
You're gonna give it? Oh,
I'll give them the win.
You're just
I think Matt Patricia is just gonna sabotage his offense. Honestly,
yeah, probably.
Just
week 6 they have a bye week. Week 7 they are in Dallas. I have a loss.
I think that's a loss.
Alrighty. Week 8. They play home against Miami. I think we're going to... I feel like I'm going to say loss, but I feel like I can change that after week 2. Because I will know more about Miami. I'm more interested to see how Miami is going to work, let alone the Lions. I'm going to start with a loss, but I would love it if you did win and we could do a coin flip, but that's up to you.
Okay, let's do a coin
flip.
No,
I mean, you don't have to.
No,
You seemed hesitant to give a loss, so maybe I should be the one that gives a win.
No, I like the talent. I mean, listen, do I think Tua is just the cat's meow? No, but Tyreek is still there, and he's still fast and still exhilarating.
Yeah.
So
you're gonna give him a win, though. So let's flip a coin here. Win or loss? Win. Wow. Oh boy, this is gonna get out of hand. All right, hosting Green Bay in Week 9. I got a loss.
I'm going to go with a loss, too.
All right, Week 10, they're at Chicago. I personally have a win here. I think Chicago's really bad. I know going to Chicago is never easy, especially for the Lions, but I think it's possible. What do you got?
I'll give the Lions a win.
Yeah?
Yep.
All right. That means another win for the Lions. At New York Giants, I got a win.
Win.
Hosting Buffalo on Thanksgiving, I got a loss.
That is a loss.
Then they host Jacksonville.
Who's going to be the better edge rusher that day?
I think the Lions got the win there, personally. I don't I want to see it to believe it
yeah,
with Jacksonville just as much as I want to see it to believe it for Detroit.
Wow, who's their coach?
I gotta win.
Peterson?
Yeah, Doug Peterson. What do you got?
I'll give you a win.
Yeah? Don't want to spin it. You don't want to let the wheel decide?
No, I'm good with it.
All right. Then they host Minnesota. Now, basically how this is rolling, I would probably say loss now, but I originally had a win. I think it's a good split with them. You split with Minnesota. That's where I'm at. So I'm going to give them the Lions the win.
I'm going to give them the loss.
All right, so we got to spin the wheel. It's another win.
Cha-ching.
Oh, boy. This is playoffs, guys. This is not good for my pants. Here we go.
Shoot them up.
Week 15 there at New York Jets.
I just don't believe in the Jets.
I don't believe in the Jets either. I got a win
Sorry.
for the Lions. You as well?
Correct.
All right. You got at Carolina. I got a loss. Christmas Eve, Saturday. Christmas Eve.
Dude, if Baker's playing and he's playing for a playoff spot,
There's no chance the Lions win this game, right?
No.
Even though the Lions will be right there for the playoff spot, right? Week 17, they host Chicago. I got another win.
Win.
Oh, wait, did we need to spin the wheel? Oh, no, sorry. That's a loss, and that's a win.
Don't make me spin the wheel.
And then at Green Bay, obviously things can change. You got week 17 or 18. Are they playing for something? On paper right here, right now, I'm going to say the Lions lose this game. Is where I'm at.
I think it's hard for me to see that Lions team go into Green Bay in the snow and win. I'm going to say a loss.
All right. That's a loss. All right. So I'm going to tally it up here. You ready for this?
Drum roll. Don't count into the mic.
How many games are there total now? 17?
Correct.
So the Detroit Lions record is in. The Detroit Lions win 5 of their last 6 games to make the playoffs, I'm assuming, with an 11-6 record.
Hey.
Yeah. I freaking hope so.
I told you it was a give and take. You could end up with 11.
He gives, I take. Or I take.
Yeah.
Anyway,
go with that.
That was fun. That makes me really excited.
Well done.
If it's craft beer in Michigan sports, we may not be the authority, but we love both like a fat kid loves cake. This is State of My Sports.
Let me correct that guy. We are the authority.
We are the authority. So don't tell us that we're not the authority. We are the authority. Speaking of authority, we got our picks. I don't know what that has to do with authority, but
I give you the authority to tell us where we've all finished this week.
all right. First, I'm gonna do this and see if it works. Thursday night football on Prime Video.
Oh, they got their own little jingle.
They got their own jingle now.
Oh.
Right? All right. It's getting a little crazy here. It's not Thursday yet.
Who are the announcers for Prime? Do you know?
Oh, it's Kirk Herbstreit and Al Michaels. All right. Actually, don't. I'll do it real quick. If you're interested in sports betting, go to bettinghero.com. Plug in the promo code MIBET. Sign up. What they do is they lay out all the best promos available in the sports betting world. Whatever site you want to use, they'll be in there. And there's a lot of free money to be had right now. First time betting, highly recommend starting on bettinghero.com. Promo code MIBET. Last week I went 2-4. Ryan went 5-1. John went 3-3. Michael went 4-2. Ryan is leading the way with an 8-3 record. John and you are tied at 6-4. What?
No, Ryan's cheating.
And I brought it. I'm bringing up the rear with a 3-8 record. So, starting with our Thursday night football picks, we got the Bills at the Rams, which I don't think is the Thursday night. official. It was an NBC game. They always get week 1. I could be wrong on that, though. That might have changed. I honestly don't know. I bet you this is going to pull up a random video.
I don't know. Jeff Bezos has a lot of money, so he probably just bought it.
Right, exactly. So you got the Bills at the Rams. Rams are 2.5-point underdog. You got Ryan taking the Bills. You got John taking the Rams. Michael, what are you doing?
Bills.
I am taking the Bills as well.
Bills start out with a bang.
I think.
We're going to show the NFL the win.
Monday Night Football, you got the Bucks at the Cowboys. The Cowboys also a 2.5-point underdog at home. Ryan is taking the Bucks. John is taking the Cowboys. What do you think?
I'm going to go with Brady going to be winning. You know what? Give me the Cowboys in the style. I hate taking that pick, but
I think the Cowboys are winning. I really do. I don't think the Bucks are right. I don't think Tom Brady's right. Something's not right with everything going on.
Isn't Vita Vea injured? Or?
I think they lost 2 offensive linemen already. Yeah. Then the last NFL game, we got the Eagles at the Lions. Lions a 4-point underdog. We got home dogs in our picks today. Ryan's taking the Eagles. John's taking the Eagles. What are you doing there, Michael?
Give me the Lions to cover.
I got the Lions. Might not be the smartest pick in the book, but
yeah, we'll see.
It'll be fun anyways, right? That's kind of how it goes.
Yeah.
Next, we have college football picks. Getting into that, we got a top 25 matchup with number 10 Baylor at number 25 BYU minus 3.5. BYU is a favorite in this game. Write that down right. I got to double check it. You never know.
We got to double check your work lately.
I know, right? This is getting bad. I got a lot going on. Let me go check everything here. Blah, the radio stuff. Everybody loves this. BYU is a 3.5-point favorite. Hosting Baylor.
What?
John's got Baylor. Ryan's got Baylor. I got Baylor.
Baylor.
Smash.
Smash.
I don't understand how BYU's favorite. That's going to be an interesting one to diagnose as things go on.
Probably because Jamal Williams put a bunch of money on his school.
Did he? Jamal Williams from BYU?
Yeah, he is.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Next, you got Akron at number 15, Michigan State. Michigan State is a 34.5-point favorite. Ryan and John are both taking MSU. I'm going to take Akron. I don't think MSU. I didn't see anything that would make me think MSU can beat anybody by 35 points. That's the way I'm going to look at it until I see it. I'm just going to.
Did MSU cover last week?
They did by it. Well, they pushed our picks, but it got moved down to 21.5. So I put me in
Michigan State.
I'm going to be wrong again. You guys are always right, and I'm always wrong. In our last game of the week, we got Hawaii at number 8, Michigan.
That is
Michigan
not,
is a
no way.
51-point favorite. 51 points. Wow. Ryan's taking Michigan. John's taking Hawaii. What are you doing?
Give me J.J. McCarthy for the cover. Yeah.
I think Michigan covers this game. I think they absolutely
They might put up 70.
I think they could. I think they could easily put up 70. I think they will probably get the over, and I think they will probably cover on their own. I expect
51,
a lot of points.
that is a line. Are
and
you kidding me?
And the biggest thing for me is if JJ puts up a show, let's say he just goes out there, and again, I'm not going to say that because JJ does X, Y, and Z that he should be the starter. But what I really like is when they pull JJ after a 35, 40-point performance. Who are they going to put in? Cade McNamara.
Okay.
And guess who wants to put up points? Cade McNamara.
Yeah.
And he's going to take advantage of that opportunity, is the way I expect it to go. I said it 2 weeks ago, take the over for Michigan in the first 2 games. Not take the over, take the spread and take the over. It's going to happen. I'm convinced of it, and I'll probably be wrong.
He's going to have the OC piping in. We're going to go with a run play, and Cade's like, yeah, we'll see about that.
Right.
drinking craft beer, having fun, and talking sports in the state of Michigan. You're listening to State of My Sports.
Remind everybody what we're drinking tonight.
Absolutely. From Big Lake Brewing in downtown Holland, Michigan, drinking orange cream shandy.
All right, I'm going to pull up a little more on tap, so keep on going. Explain
Orange
what you
cream
got here.
shandy. It's a full pint, believe it or not. That is 16 fluid ounces. Everyone loves that. A traditional wheat beer brewed with refreshing orange cream flavor and milk sugar. Milk sugar has become kind of like this new thing that a lot of breweries are starting to do. I don't know exactly what it does. Ask your local brewer exactly what it does to the beer. It kind of, to me, it kind of makes it easier to drink. I don't know. It's a little bit of sweetness, kind of a smooth, I don't know, like mouth taste to it, I guess, the way it drinks. But this doesn't taste like your traditional shandy where it's overpowered with, seemingly a bunch of sugar. Like, say Leinenkugel Summer Shandy feels, if you start drinking too much of it, it tastes a little bit too sugary and you start kind of getting that gut rot feeling that nobody likes.
Yeah.
But this is a good beer.
It is 4.8% alcohol by volume, 5 IBUs, not a whole lot of bitter in there. Obviously, not just being a shandy, you're not going to get that. But I would agree with your description, though. It's like it's not as thick, on the palate like a lemonade shandy usually is.
Yep.
It tastes a little more pure to what a beer should be.
Yeah.
A little less shandy, a little more beer, I guess, if that's a good way to say it.
Yeah, I think it's nice.
Good. Not my favorite. I'm not a big orange flavored fan, but I would say it's pretty solid. So I'm personally gonna go with a 7-8.
Oh, all right.
That's kind of where I'm at. I don't know. That might be a little low.
I actually like it quite a bit. I'm gonna go with an 8-1.
8-1. Not a bad score. Not a bad score. I mean, we were talking college football. We think Big Lake when we think college football.
All
right?
day long.
Because you got the haze and blue. I haven't had one of those yet. I'm surprised I made it through Saturday without drinking one. I might have to drink one Saturday night.
Haze and Blue and Sparty Party.
Yeah.
Do not
what
forget about it.
What time does Michigan State play? Do they play at noon? I'm assuming so.
It's a good question.
And
I
then
would
Michigan's
assume it's
got
a
the
noon
night game, which we got beers and bikes. Then we're gonna head out.
Yeah.
We're gonna end here, right? I think is that what the plan
Yeah.
is? Yeah. That should be fun.
Yeah, so if you guys are interested, we'll be downtown on our bicycles. We're going to be brew hopping.
Sorry.
No, play it.
No, it's my bad.
No, seriously. We're going to be brew hopping. If you see us downtown, come share a brew with us.
Might even buy you one.
There you go.
We'll talk to you next week. If not sooner, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for recording.
Peace.
You've been listening to State of My Sports. From the Red Wings to the Lions, to the Tigers to the Pistons, to Michigan and Michigan State, and everything in between, we're talking about it. And don't forget the beer. We hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. In the meantime, hook up with us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch at State of My Sports with an MI. We'll see you next time.